Hello, everyone. This is Christian Shields here, founder of My Secret's Purpose. And guess what? We are doing a awesome live today with one of our presidential panelists from that is going to be at the My Secret's Purpose conference in September. Today is not it's like any other day. We are getting ready to walk into your purpose. We're going to have some insight and conversation with the intuitive and success coach, Mr. Malik himself. I'm really excited about the conversation today because we discussed one thing, but now I'm feeling something else. So that is what we're going to discuss today. And just real brief before we come on, I just want to let you all know that right now tickets are on sale, and you can learn more information about the conference at mysecretspurpose.com/conference, or you can just go and explore. We do have a special right now for U Plus Friend where you can get the VIP for two, and the entire experience for those that went last year. I do know that everybody left with something. There was not one person that felt as if them being there was a waste of their time, was a waste of anything. So it's definitely a place to be. And if you all give me a second, I'm getting ready to add J. It says adding, sir. So you'll be in really, really soon. Today we're just going to, I know we talked about some things yesterday that we're going to hit on, but today is going to definitely be a different sort of insight that I have based off looking at things. But other than that, if you're on here and you're watching right now, if you could go ahead and just drop like a face or something, or a hi, a note, just so I can see who's on here, so that I can make sure that if you all have any questions or comments while we're on, that you all are able to that we're able to also answer those questions while we're waiting. I'm not sure what's going on. It says that we're adding, but I don't see. Okay, let me see. Let's try this way. I'm sorry, y'all. We're having some technical difficulties, but I definitely have it up. Hey, there we go. There you are. I was over here nervous and worried. I was like, oh no. Did I do it again? Did I mess up on adding in? I like your headpiece.
Yeah, I gotta keep it, the sound all
Yes.
good.
Awesome. Can you hear mine?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hold on, let me see.
Okay.
Let me turn you up.
Okay. Cool. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to figure out if I can actual page while I'm on here, and I don't think that I can. I don't think that I can share it, but that's okay. That is totally fine. I can share it later. So it is cool. So check this out. So I know we had a discussion about what we were going to have a conversation about, and I kind of had like, I know, I'm good for this. I am
Mm-hmm.
good for this. Nothing new to you. It's totally. Um, but I was going through some of your posts. I was going through some of your content that was on your J Malik page, and a post that really stood out to me was the post that you made on February 14th. Um,
February 14th.
yes, it was made on. I know that's a while back, but it really stood out to me because when I think about the central focus of like self care, balance, and business, when I think about those different aspects, I always want to be mindful of what really takes place with us and why we seek out self care. And this post really stood out because it talks about how you used to have suicidal thoughts. Is it coming back now? You know what you want to talk about?
I remember.
Okay. So this post really stood out to me because it was it was really expressing that deep dark place that you were in. And I'm not sure because the post didn't share like what led you into that moment or how that moment really had came about, but it did share and touch many people's lives. I believe it had several, like hundreds of comments, hundreds of shares, hundreds of likes, which is an indicator to me that people are really trying to seek help.
Yeah.
People are really. So can you touch on that post a little bit?
So I don't remember the exact verbiage of the post, but I remember just talking about, the process and really dealing with trauma, right? Like we experience everyone. I feel like everyone experiences some sort of trauma that like shifts the way they think about things. It makes them maybe more cautious or more fearful, no matter what it is. And even if that trauma may happen in one area of my life, in my instance, it was in the workforce, in a workforce accident, and so, but that trauma showed up in different areas of my life, and you don't really recognize. You think you're over a situation, and the situation is dead, and the situation is over, but that emotional strain really starts showing up in other
Mm-hmm.
areas, and it gets deeply ingrained. And so with me, it was just present everywhere, and you can't run from it. And so it was kind of like, how do I get away from this thing? How do I get away from this this pain, this deep rooted pain that's not seemingly out of my control? And that's what kind of led me, down this path of like, I could just end this all. I can just be away from this. I can erase, the pain in a moment. And so that's the biggest thing. I think trauma, and everyone has it. And so whether it's childhood trauma, whether that's more of a adult stage trauma, how do you get over that, right? How do you maneuver in your life? So that's the biggest thing that led me to that path. But overall, getting out of it was more of a slow process. It was and I emphasize the word process because it wasn't just, I decided to get out of it one day and it was done. It's a really, because trauma, you have to regenerate certain things. It's not just letting go. We talk a lot about letting go of trauma, but you have to actually recreate something where that trauma existed. You have to rebuild something that is stronger, that is new, that is in a positive direction. And some people build trauma, or they have trauma and they build walls. They build things that are, defensive, or so it took me a while to build something that was positive out of my trauma. And that was a journey that, led me down to where I am now. So
So I'm glad that you touched on that trauma piece and how getting overcoming trauma is a very slow process. It's very slow, and I know I probably asked you this before, but can you kind of shed light on what was those triggers for you that had you saying, you know what, this is a moment where I need to stop, slow down, and really find out what's happening to me on the inside, so that you can whatever needs to happen next could happen.
I think when I started noticing that other people were noticing, when I start seeing
Mm,
it being reflected back to me, more than
wow.
anything, and when other people stopped like recognizing who I was, they're like, not I'm not sure, like, is everything okay, or like, and I'm a very, 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 this, I'm a very private person. So what's
Yeah.
going on with me personally isn't, I don't really share that really ever. So when like people can look at me and like be worried about something, it's like, why are they worried about me? Like, because
Yeah.
you inside, the ego is like, oh, I got it under control. It's okay. It'll be all right. Even you feeling bad, you have this idea that, okay, it'll be okay. I'll get over it. And I always had that, idea of like, okay, one day it'll pass. But people were like,
Mhm.
is everything all right? And I was like, I think so. Like, is everything okay? I started looking at myself like, is it okay? And
Right.
I'm like, people who, family, like my mother, my sister, like friends, partners, like just concern, and that concern was shown in different ways, but I had to be able to digest how people were expressing that. And so when you deal with trauma, it's kind of hard to actually piece together emotional expression because your emotional expression is already kind of broken. So your emotional receiver is also broken. So you don't understand if people are coming from a place of malice or love or so
Mm-hmm.
just that I'm like, okay, I'm having a disconnect with a lot of different people. And it took a while because I'm a naturally private person. I'm a natural, kind of, what I'm going through or what I'm experiencing is kind of, I'll deal with that mentally. I'll manage to deal with that. But when it start becoming, you know, expressed to me, it was kind of more of it like the headlights went up. And it was like, okay, wait a minute, something's going on here that I'm not seeing. I'm not seeing the
Right.
overall thing. I'm not seeing, we talk about transformation. I didn't see like the degradation of who I was and what had happened beyond that moment. Like the trauma was one incident. It was one happening, right? But the degradation happened over time. And I think that is a piece that we don't talk about. It's like the trauma happens, right? But the change, the downward spiral is slow, and also the build back up is slow. And so you don't always recognize, and I didn't recognize this, like the downward spiral that I was going down, either because it was so slow. It wasn't like it was instant; it was very slow. And I remember, I can vividly like pinpoint certain moments where okay, I was here, and start going down, and certain it just becomes normal. Like I don't know if you heard this analogy. You put a frog in boiling water, the frog will jump
Mm-hmm.
out. But if you put a
Yeah.
frog in cold water, you put it in a pot, you turn the heat up slowly to boiling, the
Mm-hmm.
frog will die because the frog doesn't sense danger, doesn't sense anything is wrong. And I feel like that's how trauma works. Like, oh, the water's fine. You see that meme, that fire, and the guy's like, oh, it's fine, and you realize one day, like, man, I'm burning, like I'm on fire over here, like getting hot. Like, so I think that was just like part of that process, the awareness, self awareness.
So I'm glad you touched on the self awareness piece. And just for those that may be watching and not know what degradation is, could you kind of like give a glimpse of what that word actually means?
Like deterioration, like decline, um, and mostly in the spirit, right? Like it's not even because I feel like physically or yeah, as a person, it's like I was like, on the corner or anything. It was just like my spirit had been it's on the decline, and so how I was expressing myself was in an altered state, and so that's what I mean by degradation. Like when you feel like, and it's so slow. It's why it's important to have people around you who are also kind of keen on who you are, because they can tell you like, man, you seem out of it. You seem, I don't know what's up with you. And it may not that one conversation may not help you get out of it, but it'll at least plant a seed like, something's different. And it took a lot of those
Yeah.
seeds like, all right, a lot of conversations. And so that degradation is important to recognize. You have to own that. You have to own it. And I think it wasn't until I could eat that, and say, you know what, I
Mm,
have changed. The water is hot. Like let
yeah.
me do it. Like it feels fine, but let me do it. Let me get a thermometer out here and put the thermometer out and say, okay, wait a minute, something is happening. That's not who I am.
So I know that a lot of times we don't, like you said, we don't recognize that we are in those places until it becomes recognizable by other people. So I kind of want to help some people, create a sense of self awareness that they can start identifying if they are in that place right now. So what are a couple of key things that people can use to identify exactly what state of self awareness they're in?
Oh man, so many. A big one. If you can be, we talk about this. You can be brutally honest about how you're feeling, right? And more importantly than how you're feeling, like you have to go a layer deeper. of why you're feeling that way, or what has influenced you, or what are you comparing yourself to? Because when I was in a negative state, it wasn't necessarily the trauma itself. It was me projecting where I think I should be versus, so in that healing process, like if you're someone who's going through trauma right now, or you're trying to heal from trauma, like you can't project your healing to your current state. Like you will have to go through that process. You won't be able to just will your way into healing. You have to let that process like manifest. And so
Mm,
a big thing is try to see if you're comparing yourself to a version of you that doesn't exist, because the healed version of me that I saw wasn't even the person I am, you know. And so I was creating this illusion of self to compare myself to that wasn't even realistic. And so that's one thing.
wow.
What are you comparing yourself to? Like, what
Wow,
version
that's
of
good.
you are you comparing yourself to? And then another one I would just say, you know, is there an absence of love in your life? All right, is there
Mm,
some kind of, do you feel 100% loved? And if that answer is no, you know that instantly. You know that instantly. Do I feel 100% loved? And if you don't feel
yeah.
that, that's a place to go experiment, because
Mm,
most likely it's coming from a place of self. So because if you don't have enough love for self to fill you up, then other people will never be able to fill that up. Like everyone else can't. You want them to, but you're really coming from a place of internal lacking. And so I think those two are
mm.
probably the biggest ones. I would say, like, what are you comparing yourself to? What version of yourself? And then do you feel 100% loved as you are in your current state?
Wow. It's crazy that you touch on love because a lot of people seek love outwardly from other people and from things before they can really find the love for themselves. I'm not going to ask you why that is because I know you work with people. You have like a whole book somewhere where you could talk about why people search outwardly for it. So I'm not going to go into that,
Yeah.
but I am to go into how you use that information to impact others. That's what I want you to kind of share how that knowledge kind of manifests in your life now.
So now, I mean, we all understand, no matter what you believe in spiritually, religiously, that, you know, to be created is to be loved, right? At
Mm-hmm.
just foundation, creation comes out of love. Nothing out of this energy can is based on destruction, right? And that's why I said, like, trauma, people build up walls. They think they're building something. They're actually destroying the connection they could build with love. And so, just at that very core level, like, try to get people to understand that shift, that dynamic of you're here, you were created out of love. No matter what the circumstances were with your parents, like, that has nothing to do with you. Like, you are here because you were loved, you know, and that's it, you know, at a very, very ground level, and getting people to understand that. And it's more so not even that concept that's foreign to people. It's just the weeds, right, that are in the way, that are blocking that view of what love looks like. And it may be, you know, how you grew up, and that's like a blinder for you. Or maybe it's your parents got divorced when you were younger, or they were never together, or like they said many things to you, or you didn't have a good relationship with your siblings or your cousins or your best friends, or you had a bad breakup, and so many things that, like you said, we look for this love externally, and we want that external love to fill us up so much, and we never learn how to love ourselves. And
Wow.
it's just a repeated process, you know. Like, if I was in a bad state, and say I had a child, how can I teach this child to love themselves? How can I love this child in a way that they can love themselves if I had my own blinders? I have my own things to work through. And so we're a society, you know. Now, this is not just an individual thing. If you look at this on a global scale, how many people are loving themselves to 100% capacity? And
Mm,
if you are interacting with people, you know, family, friends, loved ones, partners, and you don't have that 100% meter checked off, then we feel that gap. Like, if I'm expressing 99% love to you, you're gonna feel that 1% gap. Like, man, why is he funny with me today? I don't know what it is. and you're going to internalize that 1%, and that might impact how you interact with others and how you show love, and everything becomes this game of not wanting to be hurt, not wanting to be, let down or rejected or humiliated, and all these things come from the lack of presence of love, and love isn't present enough. If it was present, we would all be more open. We would all feel more comfortable being who we really are, because we understand there's nothing but love. That is the only thing that is real. Everything else is a projection of ego. And so everyone's on guard. Everyone's on the heels because, like, I haven't been loved enough. And so I haven't been loved enough, and so I can't fully express love, because even by express love, it may get rejected. And so it's just
Wow.
so much of this communication of energy, not even saying words. People are experiencing this, the other people that we're around, and they can't take love. I can't give love. So now we have a double disconnect, right? And now what we produce out of that energy gets transferred to other people, and everyone is getting this disconnect of love. And it's like, you have to be the person to decide, like, I'm going to stop the process, and I'm going to stop this little hub. I'm going to be the hub of love that other people can stream off of. And maybe they're not at 100%, but maybe they can see what 100% looks like, and maybe they can find their own 100%. Like, everybody's love is expressed differently. So my 100% may look different than yours and anybody watching. So how can we just get back to this very, very simple principle of love without overcomplicating it or making it seem like it's this thing we have to work for? Like, we don't work for love. We work for maybe relationships we maintain. We don't work for love though. Like, we work for the connection of people maybe, but love is just here. Love is just present because we are all products of creation. So the love is here. It's just, will we accept it? Will you be open enough to accept it as you are, without feeling like you have to work for it, without feeling like you have to be enough to get love? You already have it. And so that's the
Wow.
main thing I try to, help people see. It's just, and that's the opens up everything else. That opens up everything else, you know?
Yeah. So I see some comments coming in, and some people are saying that's hard. It's hard to do that. And then I also see some comments that say, give no matter what. They'll look back and realize what you were giving.
Yeah.
And I think that is definitely an awesome point. I think I posted I made a comment on the page earlier, and I said live generously.
Mm.
And the from that perspective, it's like when you live abundantly and generously, where you are just in a state of constant giving, it's because you're giving from an overflow of
Mm-hmm.
what you're giving from something that you've already identified within yourself, that you possess and that you have. You're not giving up. You're not giving up yourself in
Yeah.
order to call that giving.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
We're not
I like that.
or making any exchange for things. We are absolutely in a state of pouring, like pouring from the overflow, like our cup is running over, and that's how you're able to receive from me. And when we do that, it allows us not to feel so shorted by other people. It allows the situations that we encounter not to feel so harsh or brutal,
Mm-hmm.
because we realize we're in a state of transition. We're in a state of transforming and allowing ourselves and giving ourselves permission to be able to do that is what allows us to be able to live generously, and therefore you will also receive in that same capacity.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly. I
at this
agree 1,000%.
thousand, give me them
A thousand
zeros.
percent.
Give me those zeros. So check this out. I want you to share this with everybody, because you know how I go back and forth with I want to do this, I want to do that, and I be changing my mind, but it's okay. But I know since we did have a conversation yesterday, I want you to share some notes. Take about 2 or 3 minutes and share some information that you kind of have prepared for today.
Yeah. So I guess a big thing we talked about the other day was consciousness, self awareness, how this all ties in really with self awareness. And because, self love doesn't exist without self awareness. Anything
Mm,
that doesn't include self awareness will be just from the ego. And so we have to recognize that there's an ego part of us, and there's like a true version of us that's more infinite and more limitless. And it comes from that place of that abundant, like you said, living generously, that love overflowing versus giving up a piece of myself, trying to do an exchange with you as a transaction. Like, hey, I'm expressing this love, so I want this back. Like, no, I'm just giving it, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
being self-aware, it goes back to the, everyone has trauma, and we know, trauma gets passed down through generations. It get passed down through customs and traditions, and so many different ways the trauma gets passed down. And those are just meant for us to overcome. Like anything we face in life is meant for us to, you know, recalibrate ourselves to get back to the true version of who we are. And so if we look at consciousness and self-awareness and self-love and mental health, all these things are so tied together. And we talked about, about values and how, if you're not sure of who you are, it's hard to even, establish values. It's hard to establish what makes you feel love, what brings you
Yeah.
joy. Because even though we're here, we all have this love. You're still supposed to experience joy in it all. And so I would challenge people to, look for love in your life, but also look for joy. Look for what lights you up, because that amplifies the love that you have for yourself. And sometimes you don't feel, the love because you're not feeling enough joy. And
Yeah.
sometimes we deprive ourselves of joy because we don't think we deserve it. And that's like a huge thing. Like, oh, I don't deserve this happiness feeling, so I'm gonna not do that thing that makes me happy. I'm gonna do this thing that makes me feel terrible. I gotta earn it. I gotta earn this love. And
Mm-hmm.
it cycles back to that. Like in the simplest way, like if I could just give really quick stuff, that would be the quick thing. It's cycle back. Like find this 100% love thing inside you, and then find the joy that turns that 100% to 1,000%. So now you can just give generously. That's how you give generously. If you have that joy and love present, you give. And then humans, we love contribution, we love significance, and so that's going to bring you peace. And so now you got
Yeah.
love, joy, and peace. You're good. And now you can bring other things to you because you're in this positive state. No matter what is happening in the material world, you're in this state of being that is so whole and so pure, and it's based off very simple concepts like love, peace, and joy. We all understand those things without anyone explaining this to us. And so get back to
Mm.
the basics. Stop making life so complicated, and get back to, like, man, what if this was a stone age? Like, what would make you feel happy if we didn't have any of these things that we have? What if we didn't have cars, or what if we didn't have iPhones or technology or Facebook? What would make you feel happy? What would make you feel fulfilled? And so go deeper than society, conditioning and programming of what should make you feel happy. And so find your own joy, find your own peace. And I feel like that is ultimately the path to this self-love, self-awareness, and self-development.
Okay. That's like a whole mouthful of like something, something. Okay.
Yeah,
We could do something with that. So now listen, you heard my little ghetto smack. Okay, I don't care. But initially, and y'all, we ready to wrap up. But initially, when I asked you to be a part of the conference and to, hold the capacity that you'll be holding as, one of the presidential panelists, I want you to kind of like share why you decided like to actually take that and to say you will be a part. You know, share with us why.
Yeah, so I mean, I've known Christian. How long have we been communicating now? I don't know. It's been a while. So we've been discussing a lot of different things, and she came to me and, let me know really what she was about, and I could see what she was about, and we had communication. We kind of shared things with each other and kind of exchanged. Um, in a way, I knew things were going in a state of harmony. And even I can even tell, it's funny now if we look back at it, like what we initially kind of linked up to do, and how things have like
Yeah.
transformed, and it's all kind of been like full circle. And so that harmony in that, but also because I mean the conference, what this is about is it's different. I know your intentions are always about delivering something that you see is a need, right? And so going beyond just confidence. I know you can change the name of the conference, like balance, like self love. Like how do you put all these pieces together, right? Like how do you build the bridge together? And I see this is your mission, and you're on it, right? And so I want to be a part of that, and support and also give my contribution because I support the mission. And like we're all here, trying to be change agents, trying to live a path of living generously, like in the capacity that we can give it in. I stand behind that 1,001%.
Oh, I got a lot of nobody. Just let people know, whatever. It don't bother me. Hey, because we grow over time, so I know that like you were saying, what we initially started doing, I don't have a problem. I'll share. We initially came together for did have to do with like just focusing on the business aspect of things and trying to help business people and entrepreneurs grow and position their businesses. And then I'm be honest, I found out that I don't want to just help people build businesses. I don't want to help people in that capacity. It was draining for me. I didn't like it because I seen that there was a deeper rooted issue
Hmm.
that it doesn't matter how well to put together your system is or your brand or whatever the face of your business is.
Yeah.
It meant nothing were broken inside.
Yep.
It meant nothing if you had no clarity and it was hard for you to find that direction. It meant nothing if you were going through up and down spirals of depression and you have suicidal thoughts and you have no state of stability
Yeah.
or accountability around you. And so when I started feeling like my biggest calling was to be a healer and to help people discover themselves and discover their true purpose and find out if what they're actually doing is what they should be doing and is that the right path to go. When I found more drive and more like I was gravitated more to that, my mission is to really help people's well-being, and that's how it shaped and evolved into like now coming with that full circle piece. And even leading to you with now having the having your intuitive alignment school. So I think that a lot of this is which I want you to share with us about what that is. I really want you to touch on that as well. So go ahead, keep on talking.
So the International School of Alignment is an online institution, and primary goal is to align people mentally and spiritually, because those two
Yeah.
things have to be connected. And a lot of times we live those two things as separate entities. So we live a spiritual life, and then we live a regular life, and we don't allow those
Mm,
things to you know merge in a way that they should, because that dictates what happens in the physical. It dictates our state, dictates how we operate, how we show up. And I'm really big on showing up at a 10. And showing up
yeah.
at a 10 is realizing that there's always going to be more, and that if you can step into that infinite version of yourself, then you can get to that 10 level. And so it's really about bringing metaphysical practices and spiritual nature with mindset coaching and mindset training to change not what you think, but change how you think and how you perceive information and energy from people around you, and using
That's
all of those things to manifest a new life that you desire, that brings you love, joy, and peace and satisfaction.
yes. So tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. I'll be tagged in this video. Um, you can also find me at jmalikcoaching.com or theschoolofalignment.com. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff at jmalikcoaching. Um, and you can find me September 21st at the My Secret's Purpose conference,
Yeah.
on sale now. Tickets on sale. Get your U Plus friend discount.
Yeah. Get, yeah. You better
You
plug.
got to give them the
Yeah.
plug. You got to plug.
You better plug. to thank you for your time today, Jay Malik. I really do appreciate you letting us into your world and sharing with us how your journey has been and where you have ended up. I know that there is more in where you are heading, and just your expansion, your capacity is really enlarging, and you're reaching many people and helping people's homes. You are helping people all over world. And I love that you are a true world changer. And I'm excited to have you at this conference, y'all. And I appreciate you all for watching and connecting with me today. I'm just a social worker at heart that just has a passion to use those degrees just a little bit different. So I appreciate you all for the love. Do me a favor and share this video out.
Share it.
Be sure to connect, share. Be sure to connect with us at J Malik Coaching and at My Secret Purpose, y'all. And I look forward to seeing you all at the conference. Peace.